Welcome to the, I should know, 16th regular meeting of the SAD 52 Board of Selectmen. No, we're not selectmen, we're directors. Anthony, could you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We are starting off this evening with our budget work session. So we're going to do public comment after or before?
We do not have public comment on the budget, so I think if you wanted to
I'll do
add
it.
that, we just have regular public comment.
Yeah. So public, well, that's going to be boom, 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 right, Bo, so.
You can choose.
We're just going to include the public comment that we normally work for the work session. We're going to have that during regular public comment because it's going to be right side to side. And that way you can ask your questions or make your statements after you hear what we've, whoa, are we going to vote first?
We are.
So I forgot, we're going to vote before that, so I think the public ought to be able to speak prior.
So maybe
So we're going to do
in
public
between,
comment.
after
You want to do you first or the public
me
comment?
first and then talking.
All right, so at
There may be
2.1.5, 2.1.1.5. So basically between, just after the superintendent gives her update, we're going to do it right there.
Right there,
Yeah, we're going to do a public comment session if anybody wishes to speak on the budget before we move forward and vote with it. If I haven't confused you, I will do better. All right, so let's start off with a presentation by the superintendent. So after she speaks, I'm going to ask for public comment.
So this TV is
Oh, I know
fancy
what you
here,
call
so I
it.
gotta get
You
up
call
here.
it
It took me a
12.
while, but then I'm feeling excited that I was able to
Yeah.
get in there. So I'm trying to stay out of people's ways. And I'm gonna hope it's gonna work. There you go.
Are we up and going?
Maybe up. Scroll up. I tried it earlier.
Where is she? She's not here? She broke it. There she is. She's hiding. She needs help. Come help her. Hey, Gabby. Are we up and
Oh,
going?
okay. I did that.
It's on?
It's annoying.
too bad.
You did it and I couldn't do it. So before we start, I just wanted you to see, I was in the wastewater treatment plant on Tuesday, and they fired up the UV, and we're like actually doing it. So these were getting trained. That is one of our consultants. So I just put it up there because that was cool. Has nothing to do with the budget. Anyway.
That has quite a lot to do with the budget in the past year or two.
$121,000 in the budget. Okay.
It's more than just that picture
All
for
right,
the
here we
Red
go.
Cross. It's
April,
more than
so-
those pipes.
You have green papers that are updated budget. So here's where we are. I'm just going to make sure people can
This
see.
is important.
So what this update reflects is the addition of a social studies teacher at the high school and the subscription to Magic School. So that was a total added to the budget of $77,967. The rest are all things that we have removed. So insurance, you all got word. Our insurance rate is 11.43%. Still too high, but it's not 15%. So we were able to remove $132,889. We removed it at 11.5. 11.43 is probably like $3,000 more dollars. So Gabby and I just decided to pause because it seemed like a lot of work for $3,000. So because some of that money would come from would go into adult ed and food service that doesn't even hit the budget. So it wouldn't even be $3,000 in the actual budget. So facilities, there was a parking lot project at TES and TMS for, I always block on the word.
Striping.
Striping, but there was another word.
Painting, striping?
Resurfacing.
Oh.
Sealing.
Seal coating or
So we
resurfacing?
have sealing and striping at TPS, but we also had that at TES, TMS, so I think we're gonna pull that out. Just do one parking lot a year as opposed to trying to get two. There was a projector project in there. It's not removed, it's just reduced. It was in there at 16,000, we reduced it to 3,000. And there was a request, there's an electronic sign outside the front door of TMS. The goal was to move it so that more people could see it, because right now it's the weird angle, but it was about $3,000, so we took that out. So that's warrant article 9. Warrant article 1, we made 2 changes. So the library books, we've done this a couple of times throughout each budget year. Typically, we budget about $22 or $23 a student. What?
Warrant article 5.
Oh, that's in 5. Okay, sorry, my bad. Typically budget about $22 or $23 per student for books in the library. We reduced it to 19. We've done that before. Math materials, those are in warrant article 1. There was a mistake for shipping or a recalculation around shipping. And then I think some materials, I think in green, they were able to order a couple now that we won't need them next year. So it was a reduction of $6,690. And then we had originally put 3 regular school buses into the budget and 1 handicap accessible bus.
2 regular school buses, 1 handicap accessible. It will now be 1 handicap accessible, 1 regular.
She's on Gabby. Okay, so we removed a bus, $32,952. Feel very confident in conversation with Cheyenne that our fleet is okay, that that's not going to put us behind and make it difficult in the future. Okay, so that is what is reflected in there. So the total proposed budget right now is $39,306. It's a 5.2%. So we've been able to slowly bring that down. So we're now at a 5.2% budget to budget increase. Okay, I'm going to pause there to see if there's any questions. Yeah.
Are we doing the hydraulic bus and,
I don't remember if it was
Okay.
a hydraulic bus, I'm sorry.
okay, that's fine.
Versus air brake,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. So, in terms of an updated revenue sheet. There we go. Oh man, is that gonna work? Oh my God. Continue as Gary. Continue. Yes.
I'm gonna check if you're a robot.
I don't. Oh, look at that. Okay. So the important number, all important number here at the bottom. So in terms of, again, I can't show you the whole thing, but the top line is green. So we've been able to get that increase to an average of 5.28, with green now at 7.76, Leeds at 5.91, Turner at 3.34. So that represents the increases to the locals to get us to that 5.2. Questions on that?
Carrie, can I hop in for 1 second?
Yeah.
The regular bus would be an air brake,
We
and
always
the wheelchair
It's like the
accessible is
first year.
hydraulic.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Where am I? Okay, so we're bringing options to you tonight in terms of this is when we need to finalize the budget. We can't leave here tonight without like a budget that you all have approved. So the options are to approve as presented with the 5.2% budget to budget increase with those increases to the towns. And then the options that we brought are, they're all options that you've sort of had put in front of you before. So if we remove a regular ed intervention ed tech 2, which is here at TES, it is an unfilled position. That would remove 51,000, and what I'm giving you is that would reduce it to a 5.06 overall with the average between the towns 3.03, which is Turner, 7.44, which is Green. If we remove the float custodian position, that is currently unfilled. It hasn't been, neither of these have been unfilled the whole year. Kristen, right, you've had somebody in that Tech 2, so it's just been recent resignations. That position is a $73,000. It would get us down to 5% overall with a 2.9 to 7.31 between the towns, with obviously the 2.9 being Turner, the 7.31 being Green. If we remove both of those positions, we would remove $124,000 from the budget. It would bring us down to a 4.8% increase. Green gets under 7%. It gets to 6.99 with Turner at 2.6, leads somewhere in there. I don't have these, I have the number somewhere though. So that's really what your decision is if you want to go with what you've got or make any of those choices, is sort of where we are.
And the float custodian has been unfilled the whole year? Just
No,
partial?
we have that person in that position took a head custodian position, so it's been open since January, February, I think.
About February.
Yeah, somewhere around February. So it's only been open a couple months. But it is current, like none of these positions would be somebody's gonna get laid off, right? They are unfilled positions. Yep.
Removing the float custodian position doesn't increase the number of people in that department overall, correct? Because that person is moved to a different title.
There is no person in that position, so it reduces the number of positions, but not people.
But was the position added to
The
create
position
one?
was added last year.
So
Last
this
year.
would be a net zero loss to that department if it was removed.
It
No.
would be a loss to the department because it's a position that they need, but
The position's in the budget now, is that
Well,
what you mean?
what she's, do you mind if I? Prior to the head custodian position,
yeah.
did we have 2 custodians there?
So
Or,
the
you know-
float custodian is meant to be able to fill in whatever school we're short. We have people out on medical leave, people who called out sick, people who are on vacation.
It's like, I was gonna say, it's more like a substitute.
Okay, so
We
it's a,
cut, last budget, the substitute lines were cut, and this float position was put in.
Right. So we added it because we thought we'd have a better chance at actually hiring somebody to be able to go to any building that we need it, instead of not paying the substitute lines. We have a lot of money in the substitute lines, and we just weren't able to use it. So we cut that line and created a position.
but when we created the head custodian that they jumped into wasn't a new position. It was a
not
new
an
dedicated.
open position. Someone left the district, the float custodian applied for the head, moved into.
But when we created those positions, we didn't add a new position. Didn't we take an existing custodian position and give it more power?
Yes, and a little bit more pay, correct.
Yes.
So we
So-
did not add head custodians, we took regular custodians and just made them head custodian positions, correct. One in each building.
And then we took all the part-time or sub work and made it into the floater. Does that confuse you more? I'm good at that.
Maybe a little bit, so I still think it's a net, it'll be a net zero.
No, because we would then, we had that as sub work. So basically, it would be going back to sub.
Which
It's
we're
not
having a
budgeted.
little bit more success with now with the students that Dave Colburn has been able to hire. They're not working
But yes, a
full
net
8-hour
zero on the
shift,
number
but-
in the schools, yes.
That was kind of my question was, what is Dave really fighting for this, or have those students been able to fill the role?
No, I think Dave Colburn has been able to move the department to a place where the regular employees we have are cleaning the buildings at a much higher level than has been in the past. Creating head custodians is a big part of that, so that there's more responsibility at the school level and people feeling like they're responsible for their building. So there's a lot, and he's strategically using his people in schools where he thinks they're gonna be successful. So his management of the employees that he has shifted to the place where he will live with this. I don't know if you wanna add anything to that, Gabby?
Yeah, so Dave and I had a number of conversations around this. Dave is a firm believer that impacting direct contact with the students is the last thing you want to do, and he understands that his department is not direct impact on the students' learning. He feels that he has been able to structure his department more efficiently. Does he feel that he still needs this position? Absolutely. He wants to have that float custodian on second shift so that when everybody calls out, because it happens, he has somebody that he can fill in as needed. But he understands that, the impact to the taxpayers is important. He's supporting what has to happen. And, you know, he also sees that the board and the taxpayers have been very supportive of the capital repair reserve fund, which has been able to strategically be used to tackle some of the projects that really need to happen. So
Any other question?
And in terms of the ed tech, you know, in conversations, Kristen can speak to this, but I think the first ed tech that I put in front of you a couple weeks ago was a special ed tech, and Kristen was like, I would rather use a regular ed intervention ed tech than the special ed tech, so that's why that shifted. So that was in conversations at ed leadership. So Kristen can speak more to that if you want to have ask questions about that.
We just have a huge need right now.
You guys
Do you mind
stand
standing
and
up?
Project.
So we just have a huge need right now for our special ed population. So that position actually was filled, and we transferred the person in that position to a special ed position just because of our need not. So it was filled up until the town filled.
Do you have, is this it, or are you?
I think it's it, but let's see what happens. Oh, then I just wanted to run through created and eliminated positions. So I gave you guys the list of, typically you just get a list, but I thought it was important to review the funding because there's been a lot of moving parts, and I just wanted to review it with you. So the 2 special education teachers at Green, we already have funding in the budget for them. So the first one, we have a contracted special education teacher that we've been partnering with Margaret Murphy, who runs our behavior support program. So that person has been contracting, so we have that money. We're just now at a place where we can have our own employee as opposed to contracting. When we started that contract, we couldn't hire anybody. We're feeling more positive that we're going to be able to do that now. The second special education teacher is a current teaching position that is moving from regular ed to special ed, and that's because of class numbers. The new funding that we see is there's an Ed Tech 2 at Green in special ed, the science teacher and the social studies teacher at the high school. Those are not currently in the budget, so that is new money. The special education nurse at Leeds, that position you all approved mid-year this year because of student need, and so that one it's not in the budget, but it's currently being paid for. The special education teacher at TES and the 3 ed techs are new funding, but those 3 ed techs we are currently paying long-term subs because of student need. So again, they're not budgeted, but we're using our subline to have coverage for the students who need that. The intervention teacher at Turner Primary School, that is actually a savings for the district because we eliminated an Ed Tech 3 that was unfilled, and because of class size, eliminated a regular ed teacher. So by creating that intervention teacher, if you remember, TPS has had a very difficult time filling and keeping intervention ed techs. So they're feeling like kids are going to get more services if they hire a teacher. It's less bodies, but more consistent services. So that was a $20,000 reduction to the budget by making that change. Oops, touch the screen. Okay, and then all of this stuff at the bottom is pre-K, and none of this is in the budget. But when I made the list, I freaked out a little bit, like, oh my God, that's a lot of positions. But these are all associated with the pre-K special education, and all of that is part of the state funding that we're getting. Those positions are not in the budget. So we need an administrator, so an assistant special education director, 2 more teachers. We have 1 right now. We need 2 more. We need an ed tech 3, and we need an administrative secretary. That person will also provide some school-based secretarial support, but again, that's grant funded. So it's all those bottom positions. They're going to be our employees, but their funding is coming from the state pre-K. Questions on those? As long as the funding comes, Peter, go ahead and say that.
We just said for
Which is not
now,
in
because
our
it could
control,
change,
right?
yes.
Whatever the legislature decides to do, but that's the scenario.
Any other questions
Any
on the
questions on
created?
these positions that are, because you have to vote on those?
Not right now.
Not
We
right
will.
now, right? This is me just walking through everything. And then the positions that are being eliminated, pending whatever choices you make tonight. There we go. We had a 1-year position at Green Central School, classroom teacher. So that position is being eliminated. That's the one that we're transferring to a special education teacher. The intervention ed tech 3 at Green, that person is transferring to open special education ed tech positions. The tech ed teacher at the high school due to a retirement, but that is shifting to the contracted line with LRTC. So we will have that position working in our building, but they will be a CTE teacher through LRTC. We have an intervention ed tech 3, is that 3? Shannon? At Leeds, sorry. 3, that person is retiring. We had a classroom teacher at Turner Primary School. I told you that that is part of getting the intervention teacher. The intervention ed tech 3 at Turner Primary School is unfilled, and then 2 bus drivers. But again, we increased our contracted line, so we just didn't want to double budget. 2 open bus driver positions plus adding to the contract. It's the same thing we did last year with speech pathologists. We didn't want to both have speech pathologist positions in the budget and contracted services, so it's the same thing. If we get a bus driver, we'll stop contracting, and I'll be back here to say, we're going to stop contracting, we're going to hire it, and we'll add the position back in, but the money we'll be able to cover that within the budget because we'll not be spending as much in contract. Any questions on those? Let's see what happens when I do this. I don't remember what's next.
Nothing.
Just a reminder that all the information you want, it's FY 27, not 26. You guys missed that one this morning when we were going over this. The budget meeting is on May 7th, Thursday, May 7th at the high school at 6 o'clock. And the budget referendum is Thursday, May 21st in town offices. Vote. So I'm going to take this back to the options for approving the budget because that's what needs to happen tonight. If we do nothing else, you cannot leave until we have a budget.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I got.
All right, folks, at this point, we're going to go to a public comment in regards to the budget. We'll have another public comment later for the regular board issues. I will mention, I believe on the 29th, is that our meeting we're having? The
30th.
That's the meeting for the land. So if you have questions or concerns on the potential land purchase that we will be voting on tonight as well, there'll be a much more detailed discussion and question answer period on the 30th at some school.
We will be at Turner Primary School.
Turner Primary, just down the road. So that being said, any questions or comments, discussions, or anything regarding the budget? This is budget public comment. Hold on, please. I got it right here.
Okay.
No, I don't. Where is it? It's in here somewhere.
I got you.
Good. All right. Our board meetings are conducted for the purpose of carrying out the official business of our schools. It is important to note that meetings of the board are open to the public. However, they are not public forums. At each full meeting of the board, time is allocated to provide opportunities for citizens and and employees to express opinions and concerns related to the matters under consideration by the board. These comments shall be within the guidelines set forth in Board Policy BEDH, Public Participation at Board Meetings. Copies of the policy are available here and on the district's website. I would like to highlight the following. The chair is responsible for recognizing all speakers. We ask that speakers identify themselves by sharing their name and town of residence. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes to express their views. Speakers should direct all comments to the board, specifically the board chair. This is an opportunity for the board to listen to the opinions of the public that relate to school and education matters. It is not intended to be a conversation or a debate of issues. We know that school-related issues can be emotional, but we ask that civility is maintained. We will not permit profanity, gossip, defamatory comments, shouting at one another, or comments that disparage or attack individuals or groups. The board is faced with many important issues. For the sake of efficiency, the board discourages duplication or repetition of comments. The board will not permit complaints or allegations against staff members. We certainly care about these concerns, but they are personnel matters, which the board is not permitted to hear in public. If there are complaints against staff, these will be handled appropriately through our complaint policy, KE. To reiterate, this is just a highlight of key points. Please refer to policy BEDH for a complete description of our public participation policy. Crystal.
So, Crystal Nicholas from Green.
Thank you.
When I talk to folks in these towns, I hear concerns voiced over being able to afford their taxes. At a time when student learning is abysmally low, can we afford to direct money away from students for AI subscriptions and raises for administration? Overspending on items like these means we cannot use that money to remedy deep learning loss. When folks talk about the schools, they are concerned the budget is too high to be sustainable. It doesn't matter if you show us a graph of other schools costing similarly, if their towns are also protesting out-of-touch spending. These folks are also frustrated at the education their children received. Other than too high taxes, I was surprised by furious grandparents and parents whose grandchildren and children cannot read or write script. These kids cannot read primary sources or family documents. They cannot write a check or even sign their name. What have we done to these kids? People are upset that their children cannot function competently in the world without a device. What better way to distance generations by fracturing lines of communication? We need to distance devices, especially for young kids, because we know how unhealthy these screens are. Some schools have already stepped up and fueled a renaissance of back-to-basics pencil and paper. The country of Sweden here is in the avant-garde, dialing back their digital presence, allowing a return to learning. We can save valuable resources by investing in our children, not soon-to-be obsolete technology.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to make public comment around the budget? And if something comes to your mind, that the public comment coming up is general, so it can be budget related at that point too. All right, not seeing any, that takes us actually into the budget workshop at this time, which the first item is adoption of the final proposed FY27 budget, which means this is the opportunity for the board members to make any additions or subtractions before this vote. So the ones that we've talked about are on the screen off to my left, I guess all of our lefts. Other than that, anything, of course, can be added or subtracted at this time. But so is there anything that anybody would like to add or subtract to the budget before we move forward?
I was going to make a motion to accept those two position eliminations. Is that the what
Number
you're
C?
asking for?
Yep, this would be the time.
Yeah.
So you're.
I'll make a motion to eliminate the regular Ed Intervention Ed Tech 2 at TES and the floating custodian position.
So option C. We have a second from Crystal. I'm sorry, Kyle, was that a second?
Crystal said it out loud, though.
I know.
Kyle just raised his hand.
Kyle, you got the third. So right now, we have a motion and a second and a third for option C on the board to our left. Does anybody have any questions, comments, suggestions, or thoughts regarding that? Alex?
My only thought here is that with them both being newly unfilled, I hesitate to remove them so quickly because I'm not sure if the heads of the departments have fully realized that not having that filled may mean over the course of a full school. So I would like to keep.
Any other thoughts? All right, not seeing it. All those opposed for the motion, which is the removal of C.
Can we do in favor first?
Just so you know.
Just saying, like,
I've
this
got
is
yes.
It's been a
strange.
long day, folks.
Wow, it's going straight to the negative.
I know, I'm very.
But you're an
I'm an
optimist.
optimist.
What's up?
Exactly. That's an inside joke. Apparently, I think I'm an optimist, but clearly I'm not. All right, all those in favor of option C, which is the elimination of both positions on the board to our left, which is the elimination of the regular ed intervention, Ed Tech 2 at TES, as well as the elimination of the floating custodian, which was a budget impact of $124,563. All those in favor? All right, you get that?
So it's just, well, if you.
All those opposed?
That will help me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Maybe
I
you
just
should've
wanted to
started with
verify
that.
that it was just one.
Yeah.
Way to
You
stay
were-
strong, Alex, you go.
You warned something, Peter.
So I just want to say that puts the budget at $39,181,451. We sort of modeled this out today. Yep, $39,181,451. So 4.86%, I put 4.8, but it's 4.86% increase over last year with the towns. So I'll just say Turner's at 2.6, Leeds at 5.15, Green at 6.99.
Is it not the 4 point? Did you say something different?
It's 4.86.
Oh, okay.
So I got my 8 and a 6. So it's actually lower than 4.8. It's a bargain. It's 4.86. Oh,
It's higher
no,
than
it's a little
4.8.
higher.
It's
Sorry,
higher than
sorry,
4.8.
sorry. There's not a 6 there. It's my rounding problem. She's giving me the evil
was gonna
eye.
say.
Can you tell?
Well,
I
if the
should've
business
rounded
manager
it
would
up.
round, would
I should
give
have
us
rounded
real
it to
numbers.
4.9.
We were in the Social
4.86%.
Studies Department in school, right? That's what we were talking.
Yeah. So that's what that number is.
All right. So that is, well, that's that. Any other questions?
So I
comments?
think now you have to vote to
Yeah.
adopt it, but okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay, so that was, well, yep. So now we're at 2.1, well, actually, are there any other, that was C. That was for that. Is there any other additions or subtractions that you have that you would like to make or add to the budget? This is last opportunity.
I make a motion to remove from warrant article 5, $172,710.
Could you have more information around that?
No, hold on, say the number again. You're giving us the wrong number.
$172,710.
Article 5, which is
Oh, just
what
a
article, which is,
Student and staff support.
okay, and that money is coming from just general or
Is there a particular line item?
particular lines or?
That's the school resource officer.
Oh, there we go, okay. Let's,
And what line is that?
do we have a second for Anthony's motion? Not seeing a second, he'll die without a second. Are there any other changes we'd like to make to the budget, additions or subtractions? All right, not seeing any. We are now going to move to the adoption of the final proposed FY27 budget. So, anything special or just roll over?
No, I think it's just a motion and then with the the actual number, so
Okay,
Jenny
so-
wrote it down, so she could make it if she wants.
All right,
I can't hear out of one ear though, so I might have got it wrong.
I'll correct you if you get it wrong.
do you want to make the motion, Jen?
I don't think I got the cents though.
There's 0 cents.
Oh, it was 0 cents.
Yes.
So it was
Yes.
39.
Many things make 0 cents.
39,100.
39 million.
181,451.
You got it.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Gabby?
can you repeat that one more time so I can make sure that my numbers match?
Yes.
39,181,451.
181,451?
Yep.
That's
Does
the-
your number match, Gabby?
Well, I don't know, I'm still working on them.
So do you want to wait? Do you want us
Nobody
to?
can sign any documents.
No, I know
until
that.
it's
So
done.
just so we know, Gabby's going to have to update all the documents for you guys to sign at the end because those are not the numbers we came with, which is totally fine. We were prepared for this. So I wonder if we want to vote, if we want to do the created, and
Can we do that prior to the budget?
I just want to make sure that she's 100%
I know,
confident.
but can we do it prior to the budget? Is there any reason why not?
Unless
All right.
somebody's going to do something
Well,
crazy.
we have not had a motion, we've had a discussion of a motion, but we've not had a motion. So we're going to skip over 2.1.2 for a couple minutes to let the magic work over there, and go to 2.1.3 and act on a proposed creation and elimination of positions. Do we act on them as a body?
So I think what I remember is somebody reads through the list of
Okay.
created, and then and so it could be created positions, and then a motion to eliminate, and read through that list as well, which I can put up there too if people want to see it.
Do we want it back on the board?
I have mine. Look, I can read mine.
Okay. Can
Martha,
can you
what?
can you make a motion, Jen, for to the
So,
creation? We're creation first.
Do you want me to put it up there?
No, I
You
got it.
it. Okay, great.
so I make a motion for the fiscal year 27 created positions as follows. Special education teacher at GCS, special education teacher at GCS, special education ed tech 2 at GCS, science teacher at LAHS, social studies teacher at LAHS, special education nurse at LCS, special education teacher at TES, special education ed tech 3 TES, special education ed tech 3 TES, special education ed tech 3 TES, intervention teacher TPS. Do you want the
Yeah, we need to create those two. Yeah.
pre-K assistant special education director?
District-wide. Yeah.
Pre-K special education teacher district-wide. Pre-K special education teacher district-wide. Pre-K special education ed tech 3 district-wide. Pre-K LCS special education admin secretary district-wide.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
Second from Bree. Any questions or thoughts on those positions that we are creating? This is on the creating list. Not seeing any. All those in favor of the list of creation? All those opposed? Okay, Bree, you want to do the,
Don't forget those.
yeah, that's right, we're gonna add those.
Oh,
too.
yeah, we do have to add those. Yeah.
Sure. I can make a motion to accept the eliminated positions for fiscal year 27. Classroom teacher at GCS, intervention ed tech at GCS.
Pause, it's an ed tech 3. I didn't have that on the list when I gave it to you. All of the ed techs are 3s.
Sure, intervention ed tech 3 at GCS. Tech ed teacher at LAHS, intervention ed tech 3 at LCS. Classroom teacher at TPS, intervention ed tech 3 at TPS. Bus driver district-wide, bus driver district-wide. Regular ed intervention ed tech 2 TES, and float custodian district-wide.
I'll
We have a
second.
we have a second from Joe. All those in favor of the, is
Discussion.
there any discussion? All those in favor of the eliminated positions? Just have to move it from there. All those opposed? I think it was unanimous, so.
Yeah, it was.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
All right, that takes us to, are we good, or do you want us to keep moving?
No, I have to, yeah.
Okay, so you're not ready yet?
Well, I can tell you what the end number is. It's $39,181,450.
50. Okay.
50.
You got that, Jenny?
I changed it, no cents, right?
No cents.
No. So I think with that number, we can do everything else, and it'll just be signing everything at the end of the meeting instead of typically when we do it right now.
Yeah, that's fine, we usually don't.
So you can keep going, but I think we can approve the warrants, we
Yeah.
can do all the rest
But
of
we can
that.
improve the budget too, because we
Yeah,
have
and
the final
approve the
number.
budget, yeah.
All right, so we are now back. Jen, do you want to make a motion for that
So,
amount of money?
I make a motion to adopt the final proposed fiscal year 27 budget for $39,181,450. Okay.
Second.
A second from Joe. Discussion on little itty bitty number, the final budget number. Anthony?
We've heard from many people in the towns saying how difficult it is for them to pay their taxes, make ends meet, buy food, put clothes on their kids' backs, pay for heat. I don't think that this board has done enough to control costs. I've given us an opportunity to take out an unessential position twice and can't even get a second. I think that this board is tone deaf to the people in the community who don't earn three-figure incomes. I will not be supporting this budget.
Thank you. Any other comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor of the motion to support? All those opposed? All right. We done that, so we're on call and approve of warrants for district
Yep, so
budget
this
meeting.
is the actual motion that needs to be said out loud.
Okay. And then we have another one.
You don't have to read that, you just have to read this, and then the land will be the second.
Okay. I will be making a motion. The motion reads as, I move that the vote entitled, Vote to Call and Approve the Warrants for the Budget Meeting and the Budget Validation Referendum, and to authorize the notice of amounts adopted be approved in form presented to this meeting, and that a copy of said vote be included with the minutes of this meeting. Do I get a second? Second from Joe. Basically, what this is just saying we're going to send it up. This is establishing the election for the vote. So all those in favor of having the budget vote? Got it? All those opposed?
Just Anthony.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Now, we have to do the same thing for the land.
Be making a motion that reads as such. I move that the vote entitled, Vote to Call Land Purchase Referendum and Approve the Warrants and Public Hearings Notices for that purpose be approved in form presented to this meeting, and that a copy of this vote be included with the minutes of this meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
From Joe. All those in favor of putting the land on the ballot? All those opposed? All right, signatures will come at a later time.
So nobody can leave at the end, because when Gabby's doing that, she's gonna have to print them, all of that, okay?
You got security ready, Gab?
Don't, keep going,
Yes,
don't
that's
listen.
Let me say out a bunch of numbers.
You can, I'm actually done typing them all now, how about it?
Woo!
All right, so that takes us into the regular business of the evening, folks. So our first business is we're going to act on the minutes of the 5th regular meeting. Does anybody have any concerns, questions, changes, or notifications they'd like to tell us about those minutes? I keep adding words to that statement. Not seeing anybody. We've all had time, I assume, in the future to get those, so we're all set. So I will approve the minutes as presented. Now a quick report of the board chair. At this time, I usually just try to bring forward any information that goes back and forth between the board that is not out in public discussion for the most part. And just because I feel that all of our discussions need to be aired as publicly as possible. There has been some concern amongst the board members on some actions around the most recent election in Leeds. Conversation went both ways, and I feel the best way to move forward is next year we will, unless there's some real push from other board members to add some review of policies and so forth, is just a review to the board about how we should interact with school property and so forth prior to elections. But there was some concern in and around that election as well as a previous election in Green.
Point of information, Peter?
Yes, please.
Could I have the exact wording of, from policy GBIA about the use of the logo, please?
If you've got it in front of you, you can read it. Otherwise, it's going to be a while before we
If
find
I
it.
can read it.
You
sure.
go ahead and read it. I'm no doubt you're going to read the.
So the policy reads, no district employee shall use the school's district's name or logo to promote their candidacy for political office, or to promote other candidates or political positions, or represent their view as those of the school district or this board.
And as such, that is the discussion that was, I see it, on in Leeds, and hopefully we have remedied the situation for the future. Joe?
I was just going to say, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to dwell on this too much because it didn't actually impact the eventual outcome of the election.
I understand. I understand, and yeah, true.
His comments are out of order. We're not in discussion. This is your report.
Yeah.
I was simply asking for a factual reading of that policy.
Yep, and we'll just move forward, but as I said, I've addressed the situation. I think it was just a misunderstanding, and we'll hopefully deal with misunderstandings prior to next year's elections if we need to. That being said, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize Nathaniel, oh good God, Mihalik?
I think.
Mihalik. He's not here, but he...
Shannon says yes, because he's got a kindergartner at Leeds.
Okay, I'd like to recognize Nathaniel Mihalik as our new board representative from Leeds, and I welcome him when the time comes. He'll start on the board in July. And at this time, I would like to say we are deeply saddened that we're losing Crystal for retirement, but maybe she'll be back with us in the future. She's been an awesome member of the board, and she will be greatly missed, especially by Kyle.
You shouldn't have.
All right, that takes us to public comment.
No, I have a report. Oh, no, you're in the report, sorry.
Yeah, that was just
I was
like-
jumping to communications, my
I
bad.
doubt I have it, I never do.
Totally bad, I'm out, sorry.
You've worked around me too often.
I know, I'm sorry.
Okay, public comment. I'm going to guess we have a little bit more public to comment than normal, so I'm just going to emphasize a couple things. I'm not going to reread the preamble. I'm assuming you all listened to me. I read it much slower than I normally do. I am going to emphasize one thing. For a variety of reasons, we do have to emphasize the 3-minute time constraint. I understand that might be new to some of you if you are speaking, so please do not take offense if I have to limit your discussion. I will, if you approach the 3-minute mark, I will raise my gavel and take that under account that means please finish up your statement. I'm hoping that most of you keep it within 3 minutes, but if not, just understand, if I raise my gavel, that means you're approaching the time frame. I'm going to give you a little bit just because this is new to everybody. Almost everybody here anyways. So I've read the preamble. It's primarily 3 minutes. Be nice to each other. Does anybody have any public comment? You first and then you, or ladies first around. You first, then you. Oh, yes, and emphasize as in public comment, we need to state your name, your town, and we do ask you to stand like you did, thank you, so we can definitely hear you well.
No, you can do it there.
You can
Just-
do it there as
just
long as you
project.
project.
Okay, I can talk back. I might stumble on my words, I'm not used to public speaking, but, I am Amy Gershik, from Turner. I am Caitlin Brown's mom. I wanted to come here tonight, I'm just gonna read from my notes, because I'm not good at public speaking, so. I wanted to come here tonight to formally ask the school board to add an agenda item to tonight's meeting. The agenda item I'm requesting is that you reconsider allowing Caitlin to play on the current boys lacrosse team at Tripp Middle School this spring season. A team that she played on last year and was offered as a co-ed team. My daughter Kate has been playing lacrosse in Turner at the town level and then last year, you know, at the district level for many years since the program started in our area. She has always played with the boys, and there was also a few girls on the team throughout the years with her as well, and I know that there are some girls on the lower level teams still as well. So regardless, that was just what was you know offered in the past, and she has often you know been described as being being one of the strongest defenders and a great teammate to her peers. And obviously the support that she has here tonight and in the community and from her coaches, everyone, you know, she feels comfortable playing that contact lacrosse in general. And that is a sport that she has always played over the years and feels most comfortable playing. And, you know, I would just please ask if you could take the time this evening to add this to the agenda. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Would you like to speak to this? Thank you.
Hi, I gotta be quick because I got my 3 minutes. For those of you that know me, I'm Peter Larry, I'm from Leeds, and the administrators that have had to deal with me understand that I care about facts and not feelings. So I gotta read quick, so open your ears please. Kate, by being biologically female and thus being an underrepresented and legally protected class, has the legal right to choose what level she will best allow her to compete at. Federal courts have already upheld her right to make this decision based upon the Equal Rights Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment in conjunction with Title IX requirements. Safety, some of you may be worried about female athletes playing a contact sport against the boys. Don't worry, we got you covered. The Sixth Circuit of Appeals in Smith et al. Versus the City of Cleveland held that gender cannot be a proxy for safety. Denial for her to play on a boys' team based upon safety concerns was found to be illegal under the 14th Amendment. Now that safety's out of the way, the district may be concerned with following current Title IX guidelines with their fluidity. These cases were all adjudicated prior to the 2020. Many of them are over 30 to 40 years old and hence follow the current guidelines. You may feel that because you already sponsor a girls' team, you're exonerated from allowing her to play on the boys' team. Federal courts disagree. Due to the fact that females historically and currently are underrepresented in sports, the exclusion of female athletes from participating in boys' teams violates the Equal Protection Clause, and the Equal Protection Clause preempts the Title IX contact sport exemption that's written in. Courts have also upheld that even when school offers both female and male teams sponsored, the female has the right to play on the boys' team when they possess the interest and the ability. Multiple federal courts have also stated that due to the government objective of Title IX to encourage female athletes combined with the Equal Protection Clause allows them to play on a boys' team, again, even when the girls' team is offered and sponsored by that local environment. Specifically in Carnes versus Tennessee Secondary School of Athletics, the courts found denying the girls' right to choose what level of competition is most appropriate for their abilities restricts their opportunities for participation and is a direct violation of the Equal Protection Clause. Furthermore, courts have also found in Petrie versus Illinois, High School Association, the government's objective of promoting girls' participation in sports is patently not served when a female athlete is denied any opportunity to play, including playing with boys, even when schools sponsor the girls' team. There are multiple other cases I've gone through. Each time the courts have sided with female players every single time. I don't want to take up any more time reviewing them as each ruling all refers back to these primary cases. I do want to make an important note that the courts only permit her the opportunity to try out. If it's a cut team, she just gets an opportunity. If it's a non-cut team, she is legally obligated to be given that opportunity. Courts, while siding with females, have repeatedly found that females must be given the opportunity to try out. The law does not, in fact, automatically give them a position on any team. I kindly ask the school board to review your case law surrounding these, or at least open a discussion about it for any females that want the opportunity to participate in boys' sports. This has nothing to do with gender identity. It has everything to do with biological gender, their protected status, and the court cases that have already gone through. If anybody wants a list of the court cases that have been adjudicated and held up in the court of law, my biggest concern is she should have the right to play. My other biggest concern, and I'll finish up right here, is I don't want my taxes going up over another stupid lawsuit that we are almost guaranteed to lose. So if anybody wants a list, I got them right here. You can do a quick Google search. Yeah. Thanks.
Would anybody else like to speak? Please.
My name is Caitlin Brown, and I'm reviewing my notes. I think that I should be able to play lacrosse at the level I choose, and I have proven myself that I can play at that level. I've been playing lacrosse since 5th grade with almost the same amount of people, and I
Thank you very much. I know, I'm letting it just, let's see if it goes too much. Anybody else? Please.
All right. Just like Kate, I'm also writing my notes. My name is Ben. I live in Leeds. I am 14 years old and I go to Love Area High School. I played with Kate since she was in 5th grade. She's played contact lacrosse with zero intention of playing girls lacrosse because of how different they are. Kay has been able to go up against boys that are twice her size, gone up against people who some of her teammates won't even go up against. She has always been able to keep up with the boys, doing everything on the team that she has ever done. We don't see her differently. We treat her like a teammate and someone who also loves the sport and wants to get better. We can rely on her. She's never said no to doing anything during the practice or a game. She's always doing a great job every time. She's able to go up against boys. She's proven that. She has always been willing to play with boys across. So why isn't she allowed to play with one? Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything else? Please.
My name is Real Pike. I'm from Turner, and I'm here to support my friend Caitlin and all the new teams. It's upsetting to see as our spring season kicks off, Caitlin is still worried about switching teams with new rules, new equipment, and new players instead of enjoying the only team that she has ever known and played with. No students are being impacted by Caitlin playing with the boys. The community has supported Kate playing for this team for many years. Please consider allowing Caitlin to finish her 8th grade season with your team.
Could you please say your name again?
Real
Slower?
Real Pike.
Thank you. Anybody else? Please.
Tim Mansky, Turner Major, and I didn't have a rehearsed statement quite well as Mr. Leary over the year, but first off, I want to thank the board and all the students because this is a great lesson in civics, one they can't learn in school, so I thank you for this opportunity for the kids and for the ones who showed support their team, making them friends. My son plays across the Cape, has for 4+ years now. I also had the opportunity to coach her, assistant coach her, assistant as well, a couple of years. Great kid, she does so well. She really puts her heart and soul in the game. For those of you who don't know lacrosse, because it's very new to Turner, and we're excited to have it here, girls lacrosse and boys or co-ed lacrosse is very different. Boys lacrosse has a lot more physicality to it, has a lot more physical contact, and a very different set of rules. And so you can't just transition a player easily from one that's been playing by the boys and co-ed rules to the girls lacrosse. And given this point in time where she's been playing for 4 years, with zero issues, along with at least 2 other teammates, Lily and Josh, who were on the team last year with no issues, playing most of them as 7th graders against 8th grade boys. I think it makes sense to keep her on the same team now and let her coach them in New York.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else? Yeah.
Hi there. Rob Kilmore from Turner, Maine. My son Wyatt is also a kid's teammate. He's come up with her in the lacrosse program as well. Just really quickly, I think that the thing I want to make, a couple quick points I want to make is, I don't think anybody is going to stand up and tell you they don't think Kate should be on this team tonight. And if they want to, I say, go for it, let's hear that. But I think that the only people who don't want Kate on the team are on this side of the table, on your side of the table, not ours. And so I hope that this is brilliant to you, that those of us who have had our kids playing with Kate, have watched her play, we want her to stay in this program with us. We want her. And I hope that you guys are hearing that. And second, I understand there's the legal stuff and the safety concerns in contact sports and blah, blah, blah. I just would like to make a quick point. If you haven't been to a lacrosse game and you're not familiar with the sport, I will tell you, it does look a lot like a bunch of people running around hitting each other with sticks. The point I'm making, those boys are just as open to being injured, being hurt by a bigger kid. The contact is just as dangerous for them. If it's not safe for her, why is it safe for them? That'd be the question I pose to you. So please consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. No. Anybody else? Please.
It's not about the cross.
That's fine. This is open for anything at this point, folks.
I just have something real quick to Oops, I need to get one of Peter's. There's two articles.
Giving away my stuff?
And this came in at 255, Peter, so I'm going to be using all three months. Crystal Nicholas from Green. It's becoming increasingly difficult to not notice mounting public-facing evidence that childhood shots can change families' lives forever. Although there are thousands of reports to choose from, here are but two random articles detailing everyday families, just like families in our district, whose lives were changed by those safe and effective childhood shots. No matter how many articles you read, the story is the same. Routine childhood vaccinations recommended by pediatricians injure or kill these kids, as well as hundreds of thousands like them. Most of these children and their families suffer without any acknowledgement or justice. We know nothing about the vehicle vaccine injury, but we do know that aluminum, a known neurotoxin, is routinely injected into infants to the tune of 1,225 micrograms per one pediatric visit and 3 milligrams by the first year of life. In 1968, the FDA set a limit of 850 micrograms per single dose of aluminum in vaccines, ignoring not only that children received multiple shots, but that this figure was based solely on the amount of aluminum required to guarantee a reaction across an adult population. And what a reaction there was. Baby Sawyer, from here in Maine, has to have been one of the cutest babies ever. Fittingly, he has the cutest teddy bear-shaped urn. At 62 days old, baby Sawyer's little body was injected with 4 recommended vaccines with 29 antigens. Sawyer's blood contained 95 micrograms of aluminum per liter, a level toxic for adult. Sawyer's parents said, "We were afraid that the medical system was going to judge us and not let him into school. We just hadn't done any research on vaccines." Recently, and maybe some of you have seen it, I watched a TED Talk about the Scout mindset. The Scout mindset tries to get an accurate and honest picture of reality, even when this is unpleasant or inconvenient. Parents that no longer cruelly expose their kids to a cocktail of neurotoxins are simply acting upon information arrived at by snapshotting accurate pictures of reality and preserving their child and family's very existence. Because we're not yet finished with these parents, or the parents of other vaccine-injured and killed kids. There's a piece that you didn't see coming. Since all vaccines are safe and effective, when there's a dead kid, who gets the blame? Parents. And if that child is paralyzed, like aspiring golfer Hayes, in the second article, who pays the crushing cost of services? You got it, the parents. And who does not? The vaccine manufacturer, the state legislators, and the school. None of them care about your child or your family's incurred injury, death, or burden. Remember, so-called, unavoidably unsafe vaccines change lives forever. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to address the board this evening?
Jimmy Childs, Leeds. First off, I want to say well done, kids. Very, very nice to see you guys standing up. And I would agree that if a female wants to play on the boys' team, I know I would have no problem with that. I don't know how that conflicts with Title IX. I feel that boys or boys pretending to be girls want to invade female spaces is way different than a female that's parents and the coaches and everybody thinks that she's more capable to do that. So I fully support that. I don't know how that works with you guys. Like I said, I applaud you guys for standing up. It's good that people stand up. I ain't much of a public speaker myself. I've been standing up, talking at school board meetings, you know, some good, some bad, some different. People don't always agree with what I have to say, but I like to speak with facts. I respect you, Mr. Larry, for what you have to say, bringing court decisions and stuff. Very, very good. You know, so, I mean, there's just, the world's changing. There's a lot of stuff that's going on with vaccines and how they have hurt people. I want to thank Ms. Nicholas for her approach in taking this stuff, you know. You guys sit here today and you want us to spend $39 million per year to do this. Well, you know what? I got 2 kids in this school, 2 great, beautiful, healthy boys that are very rarely ever sick, all right? And they're very good. They get awards in school. They do a lot. I would hate to have to see this school tell my kids they can't participate just because we're looking into trying to get certain exemptions so they don't end up dead or hurt. Hey, vaccines are for some people, they're just not for everybody. You know, and the First Amendment right should protect against that. There's other laws and stuff, and you know, you know what, the year's almost over. You know, so the year's almost over. You know, my kid is not a public threat to anybody for the rest of this year, and you know, we'll figure it out. We might have a new governor, we might have a different house, we might be able to repeal vaccination laws, which is unconstitutional in the first place. So thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Jimmy. Anybody else? All right. Well, that will end public comment for the evening. That's going to take us to communications. I should know this, but I never do. Do I have any communications? I do have no communications. So, any communications from the superintendent?
Yes, I'd like to report one resignation, Lori Shaw, Office Support Assistant at Tripp Middle School, effective May 1st. And the return of Roger Brenner, bus driver, beginning April 6th. He's done his little exit and now he's back and we're excited and the students of Green are excited. So that's all I have to report tonight.
Okay, thank you. That will take us to adjustments to the agenda. If anybody wishes to make an adjustment, this would be when you want to make it. Ashley?
Yes, so this is different than what I thought I was going to do. Do I need to make a motion for an act?
You would like to make a motion to add discussion around,
Yes, I would like to make a motion to add discussion around the female athlete that works in children with disabilities.
as an agenda item, which would fall under,
Put it at the end at 11 point. New business. 3.
yeah, that's where it technically goes. Are these long?
We're not going to end up meeting long. No, sorry. We won't need.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if any of this is really long.
No, it's all just reports.
Okay, so, all right, so that would fall under 11.1 or just 11?
11.3, because we won't do.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, because we don't need the
We
executive.
don't need the executive session.
So 11.1 or 11.3, depending on what works best for the.
I'll second.
All right, so we now have a motion and a second to add an agenda item around the option for a young lady to play.
Is there an action, just can you say like what you're motioning, Ashley, can you repeat it?
Do I have to make it? That's what I thought.
No, you want to have just discussion. There's not necessarily an action at this time. We'd have to make another motion for an action. She wants discussion.
So typically in agenda, you can do what you want.
I know,
Typically an
agenda
item,
has to
like,
have an
has some
action.
action.
Which, after the discussion, there might be an action. This is where I conflict with this sometimes.
I'll make a motion to add instruct the superintendent to add the female athlete.
And then we'll go from there. So there you go.
Can you please
I'll
say it
second.
again?
I'll
I
second.
couldn't hear you,
I
Ashley.
make a motion to instruct the superintendent to provide an exemption for the female athlete to play on the varsity team.
With a second from Joe.
So respectfully, you guys make the exemption and then I just enact it.
Yes.
Right? So,
Yes.
yeah.
No, we
So,
understand.
okay, so when we get there, we can,
Yeah, no,
Okay.
we understand.
because I can't.
It's
yeah.
our heads.
You guys have to change.
Yes.
You guys have to make the exemption and then I make it happen.
We have broad shoulders. Do we have a motion and a second? Anybody have any questions on the motion at this time? On how it stands, or any discussion on the motion?
But we're still just voting.
Right now, we're voting to add it to the agenda.
Thank you.
We just can't add, we have to.
I get that.
All right, so now we're just, any questions on adding it to the agenda? All right, all those in favor of adding it to the agenda is unanimous.
Okay.
All right, that moves us on to committee reports. Finance Committee, Ashley.
We did not meet
gonna be, the 30th.
The 30th.
Right before the board meeting.
It was supposed to be with the projector, right?
Oh,
Yeah, and that'll be full.
So the meeting will be taking place right before the board meeting at our next finance meeting instead of in the morning, and that's how we get.
Sorry, we're still gonna meet that morning. We have
So we're
a
having
whole
two.
agenda.
Okay, all right.
And then
we'll
we're
be
just
having-
gonna chat real quick about the oil right before the meeting.
Okay.
Ashley will show up wherever she's supposed to be.
We are having our original plan, 7 a.m. meeting, and then there will be a quick one before the board meeting.
Perfect, thank you.
And that's all because the oil companies are nervous for some particular reason.
Can't understand why.
It's all peaceful now. I don't know what the deal is. All right, anything else, Ashley? Anybody questions for Ashley on that? All right, that takes us to PTB. Alex, what's up?
Yep, so we met tonight. We had a transportation update from Diane. She said staffing overall is looking pretty strong. She has a couple prospects in the works for bus drivers. She has a new van driver starting, I believe, next week, and 2 others scheduled to start after April break. She also is looking into quotes for T-shirts for all driver staff. She found a couple of decent options, so we have a little bit more work to do on it, but that'll probably be an option that will be brought forward at some point later on. We also spoke with Dave from facilities. The first thing we talked about was some possible student traffic safety concerns revolving around student pickup at Green Central School, also at Turner Primary School, but it was mostly about Green. We find that more so when there's a bus cancellation, the line for pickup can extend from Green Central School down towards 202. Tyler Ham was in attendance. He had been out to kind of check the situation out. It wasn't bad the day he went because there was no bus cancellation. It was a Wednesday, so it was an early dismissal. But we discussed other possibilities about what might be done to waylay any concerns, but rerouting traffic at TPS and Green is really not an option because getting to the opposite side of the school is a big workaround. It'd be probably more than the parents would be willing to embrace. So for the time being, we don't think there's any immediate concern. We may reach out to parents to encourage not such an early lineup. At TPS specifically, we find that by 2:15, there's already cars lining up. So in the interest of trying to cut the line down, we may encourage them to just arrive a little later. But yeah, there's no other great actionable thing. We talked about facilities and field use. We have an ongoing discussion with TAA and GYAA about specific, or mostly wintertime gym use on Saturdays. Right now, the district employs I guess he's a part-time, or a sub-type janitor who opens up the buildings. So we're looking at avenues to possibly fold in the youth groups to give them some responsibility in the process, so that we can continue to offer the space, but also keep the district's interests in mind as far as keeping it clean and used in the correct fashion. So we likely have an upcoming meeting with the youth groups themselves concerning that. There was a kickoff meeting with Novo Studios, which was one of the architect firms that we chose. They're the one that with the interior spaces in mind. So their scope of work is going to be focused on 4 spots: the TMS Cafe, central office ADA compliance, spacing here at TES, and then district-wide bathroom modifications. So it's very early in the process, but they're going to be getting together some concept work. They gave us a ticket price for this part of the project. It's going to be $170,000 for all the spaces. That will cover, meetings with PTB, meetings with administration, meetings and presentations with the board, concept proposals with review and all this, everything that comes along with it. So at the beginning of a very long process. We spoke about the sprinkler system at LAHS. Dave had on-floor fire protection on site, and the B-wing dry system failed an inspection due to scaling that was found in the pipe. So the fear is that if the system ever needed to be put in use, the scaling would get into the fixtures and clog. So that's why it failed. They gave us a price of $68,000 to come in, drain the system, remove the scale, and replace the heads in that zone because they would all need to be brought up. We'll be using or looking to use capital reserve funds for that project, so it's not in the budget or anything like that. And then we had a quick update on the wastewater treatment plant. Still hoping to have an April 15th, so next week, switch over. There was some, not issue, but the process is taking a little bit more time to get going because of the bacteria and science stuff that Dave is learning a lot about.
Science stuff.
But the hope is that the test they send out next will come back positive, and April 15th should still be the day that Evan gets to.
Tax day?
I guess so. Fitting. And that was all we got to do. We had
So
to move a few
Evan,
things
you don't get to do
down
it?
the line.
Evan gets to flip the switch?
I don't know if it's been decided. That's up to Karen.
Who said Evan? Dave? Did Dave Colbert say Evan? Evan said Evan?
But that was it. We moved a few things to the next meeting, which is going to be May 14th.
A quick clarification. Who did you say did the inspection? Was it the fire marshal?
No, Encore Fire Protection.
Are they the ones who do the repair?
Yes, I think.
I know we went around this with roofs once.
No, it's
Yeah.
that.
No, we went around this with roofs once about having somebody who doesn't do the repairs
Right.
do the inspections, because
Right.
otherwise they're like, we're slow, let's find something we need to repair.
Right.
I'm not saying, please, I'm not saying that is the issue, but I'm saying it is something that people can take into like,
So the issue there, I think you're referring to the Leeds roof, where we had an inspection of the roof by a company who then bid on the work with other companies. And that was tricky just because the bids were all very different. So I think this is somebody that is normally our inspection is the person who found that. It's sort of like the elevator work or something like that. So I'm not sure it's the same.
It's just in general, I think, I don't know, it's just, it's kind of like, okay, I find something wrong, so, hire me to fix it. Just, it's a look that you just have to take into account. And I'm just curious, if there's an outside source that can do the inspections that isn't the company that fixes it.
Gabby had something to say.
Dave is looking for additional quotes on this work as well, but this is the company that he has been working with that has fixed a number of other issues throughout the building. Sorry?
Never mind. I was about to say that they found, but sorry.
I mean, there have
No,
been issues.
I'm not saying that they're,
have
I'm
come
not saying that
up.
they're.
He has
I
called
am-
the company, they have come. And they
Yeah,
have fixed
nothing
said
is going on that's wrong. I'm just saying, I'm just.
You're showing your
I was just
optimistic
gonna say,
side.
we're being a real optimist there.
You're being an optimist.
I told you, I'm an optimist. And everybody is honest and easy to get along with. All right, any other questions for PTV? Not seeing any. Thank you, Alex. That takes us to curriculum. No, policy, sorry, policy. Crystal.
We have not met. We actually have a meeting next Thursday, the 16th, and then also one on the 30th. Try to get through,
Catch up on a few things.
catch up and make sure that we get through 2 readings, not the actual 4 readings we have left.
Yeah, policy for a long time. So curriculum committee, great.
We met tonight at 5:30, and we had presentations from the science committee that worked on the science standards, selecting the priority essential standards that they will be working with, and they shared out that they have a good flow for science in elementary up through the high school with some changes that will be taking place and support for the teachers. We also had a presentation from our ELA team with those standards as well. And then, Teresa, the specific dates for the end of the timeline, we will be seeing those to come to the board May-ish. It's just a-
Or June-ish.
Or May-ish or June-ish. Oh, we meet again on May 14th.
Any questions for the curriculum committee? All right, not seeing any. That takes us to Crystal and the Tri-Town Teachers Association, negotiations.
Yes, we have a executive session that we have taken off for this evening. We had our last in-person meeting with everybody 2 weeks ago, right? Yep.
About 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yep, we've compiled our bundle and we've sent it off and we're waiting to hear back.
So you presented it to them 2 weeks ago?
No, last Thursday.
Last Thursday, so they've had it since last
Or
Thursday.
Friday morning, actually.
Yeah.
My understanding is they were gonna meet tonight to go over it, but
Any other questions? We won't be having a meeting later, so any
there's nothing to report.
sounds good. Can't ask a lot of questions. That takes us to our student representatives. William, you're up.
Just speak up, William, okay?
Okay. So Key Club is doing an Earth Day cleanup on the 16th after school. There is also a run for recovery to pay for the medical bills of Eli Levitt for my skiing accident. I forgot the paper at home, so I don't know the exact date. But it's on, there's a Facebook page for it that you can sign up.
This is the 5K
Yes.
that high school kiddos
Yes.
organizing, yeah.
And then spring's winds have started, but the snow that we've had recently has made it interesting. That's all.
Yeah, thank you.
Does Ricky have anything?
Ricky,
or is
do you have
that just
anything?
one?
I do know that juniors did MEA science testing the other day.
I heard about it. We did.
Went pretty well.
Great.
Thank you very much, John. And that takes us to administrator reports. Principal Mates.
All right. I'm just going to point out some key highlights. Our discipline data continues to look good. I'm trying to forget the spring of last year when there was a giant increase in in-school suspensions, but as you can see tonight, we have really great kids doing really great things. So I'm really proud about our discipline numbers. I always report out in the bar data, we continue to have 60% of our students at the thriving level, 26 at level 1, meaning they need just tier 1 or in-classroom interventions, 11% at tier 2, often requiring additional interventions outside of the classroom, but able to be supported with school staff, and 3% of our students requiring supports that sometimes go outside of the classroom, and we refer to that as like a community connect. In a previous meeting, the board had asked for some data around our main integrated youth health surveys, and so printed out those reports, and then I just want to highlight a couple key notes about how the middle school uses that data. And so we specifically use that data to evaluate like the culture and the climate within our building. We also use that data to inform some of the lessons and activities that we do during our crew block, especially around like relationship building. And the questions that are regarding health and physical activity, we take this data, the results from that, and we share it with the health and PE teachers to drive their instruction. Some of the noteworthy data, when I say we use it to drive like the culture and climate in the building, 75.6% of the students reported they had at least one trusted adult in the building. That's something we monitor because every kid should have at least one trusted adult in the building. 89.9% of the students, so 90%, report that they feel safe at school, and that was an increase of 5.4% from 2023. Those are the two areas that we highly focus on with the relationship building. Another example sort of on the opposite end is some of the questions relate to like self-harm, and we did have 12% of students struggling with ideas of self-harm, and that's what our school counselor and our social worker, things around like continued advocacy policy for having a spur-weight clinician in the building who can provide clinical work with students and take the burden off parents to be able to have to bring their kids back and forth to those appointments, because like for us, it's Miss Lindsay, she's fabulous and she's right in the building. So we use that data to sort of justify some of those decisions. Give you guys a little bit more information about the professional development that's been going on the early release Wednesdays, how that's tying in directly with district-wide work that we're doing and Teresa's leading. And then continue to update on the percentage of kids that we have involved in sports and extracurricular activities. Happy to report that with the addition of the spring sports, we are at 87% of our population participating in an extracurricular activity. I would also like to note I'm incredibly proud of the kids who came and spoke tonight.
Does anybody have any questions for Jen? Joe?
I guess I'll start with a comment that I think the 87% is outstanding. It's one of the most exciting things, I think, setting everyone up before high school and everything, so that's great. But the question I guess I have is around the Maine Integrated Youth Health Survey, and I guess if that survey wasn't part of what is done at the school, how do you think you would identify some of those vulnerable populations, or would you be able to?
We could potentially create some of our own surveys and disaggregate the data. I mean, it's incredibly helpful to have a 20-minute survey that then provides the results to us. And it covers a lot of different areas, like I talked about. Some of them are curriculum related, some of them are culture related, some of them are safety related, and so to be honest, we could probably essentially recreate what they're doing and just have it be ours instead of theirs.
Okay. Ashley?
Two questions.
Sure.
Is this the first year the data's been kind of dispersed around the school?
It's the first year I believe I provided to you, but it's not the first year that we've talked about it as a school.
And you mentioned you send it to physical phys ed. How is the phys ed changing with that data that otherwise wouldn't change?
I'm sorry.
Could you speak up?
How is phys ed changing using that data? Like what changes were they in class?
So there's not really like an immediate, but as Teresa shared, like earlier in the year, the health and PE teachers and teams met and they reviewed their standards, right? And some of the curriculum that they're putting forth. And so the questions that are specifically related to health and PE are used to drive those decisions. So if we're seeing things that are showing up in the survey that have to do with like options that could be supported in the health curriculum, like Jen Carver, our health teacher, might shift her instruction to touch on those more. I can't give you a P example off the top of my head, but I could come up with one if you want for the next meeting.
Alex?
Boys and girls lacrosse. I see the numbers that you have for signups. How are those broken down? Is there a 7th grade and 8th grade team, or are they one team? Or?
So lacrosse did not have to have tryouts this year. We have a larger number of 7th grader boys playing than 8th grade, and so I don't think they didn't split them into, I should say, they're splitting them into 7th and 8th grade teams if they need to, with potentially a rotation of 7th grade kids playing up on the 8th grade team to like help them have subs.
Yep.
A lot of it depends on teams that we play too. If they have like an A and a B team versus a 7th and an 8th grade team, or if they only have one team, we might send our 7th grade as well. Again, because we're only in year 2, we're just sort of trying to figure it out.
And is that a cut team? Is the boys and girls? neither one of
Lacrosse,
them?
we did not make cuts for lacrosse.
Is it? Anybody else? Don't see any. Thank you very much, Jim. That takes us to Principal Bartash.
I also have my MAYHS report.
Yes.
That's it. I want to share that I am like Janet, but I am so super proud of our students and everything that they've done. We've gotten to, yesterday, along with some other administrators and groups, we got to go share our progress at the inclusion conference with other people from the state. We had to get up, standing in front of 500 people. It's just as intimidating as it sounds. I didn't like that, but our session went well. People were interested in our journey towards inclusion and how it was impacting not only the special education students, but all of the students. And I think I've shared our growth data before, and they were very interested in that. We finally got our report card from the DOE, and it was better. Our attendance is still what we're working on, but it was better than I had hoped. We're actually exceeding in both achievement in ELA and in math. So we're doing really well, and that's all of our students. And on my report underneath, you can take a look and see, is it the students with IEPs, the economically disadvantaged, but our students are doing, and our staff is doing a great job in improving all of those scores. I'm going to be going to another conference on the 30th, which is for schools that were part of that Tier 3, now called CSI. Because when I first went to a panel and they said that they didn't think they were ever going to get off because of their special education students. So now I've been asked to come and show what we've done and how our kids have actually gotten from that. They didn't get us off, but how we did that. And I remember we got booted out a year early, which is good, but also I lost a lot of professional development. And in our conference yesterday, our kids really shined. We had a lot of spotlights on our students. A part of our presentation was how the students were feeling about inclusion. We brought several people to tears, just hearing from the kids and their stories. We have one student from Leeds, a 5th grade student, Wealthy Clean, who decided on her own, and motivating several adults in the building to help her, that she wanted to raise some money to send some kids to not Special Olympics, Pine Tree Camp. And so she worked with our guidance counselor, and she raised about $450 on her own to try to help send a kid to camp. And her video came up, and everybody saw it, and there were a lot of tears. That she felt that strongly to do that. So I'm excited to keep sharing all the great stuff that our students are doing and that they are excelling. As far as looking at our MYHS data, there were a lot of positives. I looked through this. I had my leadership team look through this, gave it to our social worker, our nurse, and then kind of compiled what they said. There were a lot of positives. There were some deltas. We've already started taking some of the next steps. So there was a lot of bullying. Recently I've sent out, maybe a month ago, I sent out a bullying letter. And our next steps, we're going to be talking about cyberbullying, and nutrition is also a concern for our students, and so we're going to be sending out nutrition and information like that to support parents. Any questions?
Presumably, you're going to be catching bullying through just normal classroom activities, PBIS. Is that not going to catch bullying behavior?
It catches some of it, but some of it is maybe something like if there's a kid that doesn't want, I talked with a student today that didn't want to be the one that tattled on the other kid. And so we may see with PBIS, and we also do restorative practices, those that come up, but there's also some that may not be coming out because they don't want to be seen as the bully.
Right, but so what is actionable from the MIHAS for bullying if you don't have a culprit? It's not identifiable. You don't know which student is saying, I'm being bullied. How does this change the way that you try to work with bullying when you know that bullying exists anyway?
The letter that I sent out kind of identified, because a lot of times bullying, I got that Gabby bullied me. And it's like a term that gets thrown out a lot. I did get my statement. But it's a term that kids throw out all the time. They bullied me when they were just maybe being mean. So, and I've had parents, well, my child says they're being bullied. So we sent out information of what the definition is of bullying and what they can do and how they can talk to their student about it to make sure that it does get reported, or if they hear about it, what they should do about it.
That's not a standard thing that you would just send home anyway?
It's on the policy and the website. It was just a reminder that I sent out after we had this, because the staff felt it was higher than we thought it was. So I sent out a different reminder to parents to try to help them.
Anybody else have any other questions? Thank you very much. Principal Conway, our host for the evening.
Sorry, I made my copies, but I misread or misunderstood the assignment, so I made a copy. And then when Jana had her copies, I was like, I've got to go to work. I have them here.
Do you want to hand them to me and I'll
Yes.
take care of them?
And they're not
Lucky
stapled.
you're at a good place to do it, though.
I know, I'm very lucky, but then they weren't stapled, and I did it in a bulk, and all of them were like, page one was all together, so.
Bulk printing is not working these days.
Yes.
We got you.
So just in regard to my report, one thing I want to highlight in it, just because it's a big deal for us, we had one of our sixth graders, Grace Morris, she was our school winner for the spelling bee this March, and she then went on to the regionals spelling bee in Maine, and she won that. And then she went to the state spelling bee, and she came up as runner-up. So she's in sixth grade. The winner was an eighth grader. They went back and forth quite a few times. And the person who beat her is like kind of like the reigning champ for the state of Maine. So it's just a pretty big deal that we had the runner-up for the spelling bee. So pretty neat. We also had a team of us go to the inclusion conference yesterday. We presented and were able to meet some really neat people at our presentation. One of them was David Rose, who actually lives in Turner, and he's the father of universally designed instruction. I was going to say learning, and I knew that wasn't right. And he was at our session, and he's just very nice. A lot of what he was talking about is like the things that we try and practice. So trying to remove any of the barriers from students from being able to be successful in the classroom. So for instance, like in fifth grade, when students might be doing some math and it's not having to do with like your math fluency, having the multiplication chart out, or because if they can do the work, they might not know their fluency as what we would want, but instead of it being just an accommodation for one person, having it available, because the only students who take it are the ones who would need it. So just trying to help create those classrooms so that all students are able to access the grade level for instruction, and not just, like the students who are kind of like fit that mold, I guess. But he talked with us for a little bit and talked about wanting to do some things, some trainings for free, which is awesome, here with staff. So, and he went to he went to the Levitt Institute. Well, he went to Levitt Institute. That's where he went to school. So he's like, I really want to do a training there, which was fun.
It's awesome. Come back to his roots.
Yeah. And then for our MIAS data, I think I would say our strongest piece of data was that 89.5% of our students said that they had a caring adult, compared to the state average, which was like 79%. So it's quite a big increase, which felt really nice to hear. That's something that we do work on. We do a go-to-adult survey with all of the kids, and staff also do something called the SRSS survey, which is just to try and identify students that might kind of be at the periphery and not really have an adult that they can go to. But we use the staff data and compare it to the student data that we do to make sure that just because we think a student might be connected to an adult in the school doesn't necessarily mean that's how they feel. And we've done that a couple of years, and I think just that number felt like it's making a difference. Another area for us would be the bullying piece as well. And I think what Shannon said was right. Sometimes there are things that happen and it is bullying, and there's not one solution, right? Like, it depends on the scenario, it depends what's going on. Oftentimes there's extenuating circumstances with things that don't have to do with that, you know, STEM outside of school. So there's a lot of work that has to be done. Other times, it's actually both students. It's one student might do something that might not be nice, or something happens on the sports field, and they're mad about whatever happened, and then and that's not really like their fault necessarily. But it's usually there's two sides to every story, and so trying to figure out and navigating that and identifying when it really is like completely inappropriate behavior and putting in the right interventions, or also some of that education for those students about how do we get along, even if we're not always going to be friends, but working on owning their behavior, which is the part of restorative practices, which I would say from what I understand from Shannon too, is something that we're both working on with our PBIS. But that's really more about, with restorative practices, it's more about helping students to own their own behavior and then figure out ways that they can help make it right. Because all of us make mistakes. Sometimes they're unkind mistakes or whatever else it might be, but what can we each do to make it better?
Thank you. Hold on, does anybody have any questions? I think you're safe.
Thank you.
You're free. Director Drysdale, the next contestant.
Good evening. I wanted to share that Teresa and I also were fortunate yesterday to go to the Inclusion Conference. And it was interesting. We've had presenters, we had a lot of schools with Principal Bartash and Principal Conway leading several sessions, presenting in front of the whole group in the middle of the day. And as one of the components is as they were talking and sharing their data, it was amazing to see the sea of people applauding the good work that's happening in their schools, their increase in academic data, their decrease in behavioral incidences at their schools, and then overall sense of belonging for students. So that was really amazing. Teresa and I also had an opportunity to present yesterday and really reflecting on what we're doing as a district and how the work we've been doing with the handbook, which was one of our action steps on the recommendations for our integrated multi-tier systems of support leadership team, which encompasses administrators, all the administrators, and then staff across the district. So that's really exciting. I actually, at the end of the day, the Deputy Director of Special Education, I was presenting, Elaine and I, Principal Gammon and I were presenting about Owl's Nest and how we're including 3- and 4-year-old special purpose private school students in pre-K and having them spending time in their pre-K classrooms. And she said, well, this really is just the MSD 52 conference on inclusion. And I was like, well, you may be right. We're pretty special. So it was really exciting to be able to share that, all the good work that's happening in our district and leading the charge, which is awesome. The other thing I wanted to mention as a plug is that we are on April 16th, we have a child find screening committee that we have put together, and we are going to be screening 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds that are not attending school to determine whether they would benefit from special education services. So we are doing a screening in the morning. We have a couple of children signed up for the morning at Turner Primary. We're going to be screening in the library, and in the afternoon we're going to go over to Green and pull some screenings in Green. So if there are parents of 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds who are not attending school and they have concerns around their development, their communication, their social emotional development, their self-care, along with their motor skills and vision and hearing, we will be able to meet with them. We have our OT provider, our speech provider, our nurse, a pre-K teacher, school psychologist who would be meeting with each child individually with the parent right nearby to do informal screenings, and then from there we would be able to identify whether they would be appropriate for special education referral. So we have some slots open so that if there's anybody, we've posted the information on the website. There's a banner at the top of the website that we have, that you'll be able, that will direct you to where you need to go, which is on our special education service page. And I think it's special services page. And then we also have the flyer on Facebook, on the district website, specifically Leeds, and Turner Primary. So we want to get the word out. We're hoping this was like our initial one that we need to do because it is part of our obligation and being part of cohort 2 and providing special ed services to 3 and 4-year-olds. And then hopefully next year we're hoping to get some scheduled child find activities, and then also maybe going to daycares as well, so being able to capture those kids. But I wanted to share that information.
Do we have any questions for Ashley?
One, I really like the chart that shows different disability types. Just curious, what is the difference between an intellectual disability and a learning disability?
Yes, so an intellectual disability is, would be identified as a student who has cognitive delays, significant cognitive delays, but they also have delays in adaptive skills. So communication, socialization, self-care. So both of those combined would identify a student with an intellectual disability. A specific learning disability is a typical profile will be a student that has a pattern of strengths and weaknesses. So they may have cognitive areas that they're really strong in, and then areas that they would not be strong in, and that would reflect their performance in reading, writing, and math. So a student might have a really strong, like they take in visual information really well, but they don't take in auditory information very well. And then it may take them time to kind of process the auditory information in order to produce results in terms of their learning process. So they might be great with visuals. You put a visual in front of them, but that auditory piece is something they struggle with. So it's just a specific area that they're struggling with in their learning.
Do we have any questions for? Seeing it, thank you very much. Takes us to Assistant Superintendent Gillis.
Okay, so the past few weeks I've been able to attend the Maine Curriculum Leaders Annual Conference, which was in Augusta, as well as the second annual Maine Inclusive Education Conference, also in Augusta. And as Rebecca noted, I did have a chance to present with Rebecca and also Lacey Brzezinski, who is one of our school psychologists. Tomorrow, teachers and administrators from RSU 16 will be visiting Leeds and Turner Primary School to observe Jude Lever, Sarah McClellan, and Linnell Moore Towers teaching into reading. They've asked to visit to see that happening as they work to select a program of instructional materials for ELA. And I've been doing copious amounts of curriculum work for both science and ELA with a little bit of math thrown in there. And I just want to give a heartfelt thanks to those who attended the curriculum meeting this evening. For science, Mike Hathaway, Kaylee Getty, and Lee Smith. And for ELA, Alicia Sroy, Megan Fenton, Michelle Seeley, Kayla Hutchinson, and Jana Mates. So thank you. Shout out to you.
Any questions for Assistant Superintendent Gillis? Not seeing any. Thank you very much. Carrie.
Just a couple things. Teresa and I actually have done a couple webinars with various either school districts or sort of national education folks around AI and guidelines and potential policies. So that's something that we're going to keep working on to start to deal with some of those concerns that folks have raised, so that we have some things in place that I think will help us and help students and help teachers. Dave, Gabby, and I did our kickoff meeting with Novo Studio, the architects. Negotiations met. I met with Ed Leadership this morning with Teresa. We talked about a range of things: technology issues, emergency planning, budget, and future professional development. I'll give you a legislative update. The EPS formula is at the legislative level. They're looking at 2 adjustments to the formula. One would be the regional salary adjustment, which I could describe for you, but it's very complex. It would help us if they fixed it. And then the ability to pay based on socioeconomic disadvantage rate of a school district. So there are other adjustments that they considered, which would be to provide additional funds for transportation and special education. It's my understanding right now that they have taken those things off the table because of the cost of adjusting those, and that likely if the legislature passes the revisions to the EPS formula, it would just take into account the regional salary adjustment and the socioeconomic disadvantage rate. If that were the case, we would probably be exactly where we are now. It's not going to provide us, based on the calculations that Gabby and I have done and looking at the models, we're going to be kind of in the same place we are now. So my hope had been that we would sort of see an additional subsidy from that, but it doesn't appear that that would be the case unless our socioeconomic disadvantage rate went up or something like that. So there are districts who will be harmed greatly by it. Those are districts that have very low socioeconomic disadvantage rates, and there are going to be districts that see a huge increase. Those districts that have a significant socioeconomic disadvantage rate, but we're sort of right in that middle ground where we're not really going to get hurt, but we're not really going to get helped, I don't think. So when the bill actually passes, I'll know exactly what's in it, but that's sort of where we are right now. So I just thought I'd provide people an update. And then on consent agenda, you will see 2 revised job descriptions. ESL program teacher, that one had come to you before and was pulled from the consent agenda for another review. And high school counselor, this is the first time it's coming back to you. And there is a new job description for office support assistant food service. This position is completely paid for out of food service, but it was added to help with all of the paperwork and things like that that happen through nutrition. And it's our attempt to sort of make it so that there's just not one person who knows everything in food service, which is Dave Roberts. So right now it's a 20-hour-a-week position. And so we just hadn't done the job, we hadn't just done the job description yet. So that's what I got.
Do you have any questions for the superintendent? Not seeing any. Thank you. That takes us to the consent agenda. These items are to be acted upon collectively unless someone wants to take them out of the list. Does anybody? Yes.
I'd like to remove 9.1.2, please.
Okay, 9.1.2 has been removed. Anything else? That is the high school counselor. So that's been removed. We'll discuss that immediately. Oh, actually, it goes on new business, right? Yeah. So that will officially be, what did you call the new one?
11.3.
11.3, I guess.
3 would be, well, 11.3 is going to be the adjustment that we made around
11.4.
ACDC, so that'll be 11.4.
All right, so consent agenda. Items to be acted upon collectively unless the board member asks that a specific item be acted on individually. 9.1, approval of the superintendent's recommendation of revised job descriptions. 9.1.1, ESL program teacher. 9.2, approval of the superintendent's recommendation of a new job description. 9.2.1, office support assistant food service. And 9.3, consideration and approval of the Finance Committee recommended February operating and expenditure reports. Do I have a motion? We have a motion and a second from Bree and Joe. All those in favor of the consent agenda? I believe it is unanimous. All those opposed, just in case? Nope. So it was unanimous. That takes us to old business, which we rarely ever have because we're so good at doing new business. And that takes us to new business, which I do believe there's been a crowd waiting for the new business. First item on new business, 11.1, 11.2, we do not need, so those have been withdrawn, correct? So 11.3, can I get an official motion? We just made a motion to put it on. Now we need to take it off and talk about it.
I make a motion to provide an exemption for the female athlete to play on the boys lacrosse team.
And for emphasis, the board to make an exemption.
The board.
To policy ACBC?
My second.
Carrie, can someone repeat the motion?
Yep. So I'm writing it down, so hang on.
Yeah,
So a motion to provide an exemption to policy ACDC to allow a female or females?
Females.
Okay.
Plural or singular?
Plural, cover any along
To play boys lacrosse. Right?
You're doing general. So that would follow high school and middle school.
Okay. So can I just read it one more time, just to make sure I have it? So a motion to provide an exemption to policy ACDC to allow female athletes to play boys lacrosse. Okay.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second, I believe, was from Jenny. All right, now we are into the discussion phase.
Point of information.
Yes.
Is it an exemption? Is it called an exemption when let's say there's a girl who wants to play on the football team?
We designate, you guys designated in policy ACDC that football is co-ed.
So it's not an exemption?
For that one, no.
There's no, if a girl wants to play football, there's no exemption because football was designated as co-ed.
Just in case, it's because we don't have a female football team. That's why. Joe?
I am supportive of the exemption, but I don't know, are we allowed to just change policy like that in a single motion without having multiple readings?
Technically, we're a board of 9. We can kind of, it's precedent we're worried about. It's Bree's kind of right. We can kind of do, we have some rules we're supposed to go by, but we do have the ability to change policy in an emergency type fashion. We do it with first and second reading. Out of courtesy, we usually send it to the subcommittee, but we're just kind of, this is jumping a whole bunch of steps.
Can I read the section of the policy that may apply to this?
Please.
So number 4, it's policy BG, number 4, on matters of unusual urgency, the board may waive the requirement for a second meeting and take immediate action to adopt new or revised existing policies. When such immediate action is necessary, superintendent shall inform concerned groups or individuals about the reasons for this necessity. It's the intent of the board that this provision be used only in emergency situations.
Well, I would, perhaps we should put an amendment on this that puts a time limit on it, maybe for the next year or something, and we send the policy back for reconsideration to make permanent alterations if we feel there should be something permanent.
Yeah, because I guess the amendment would be a permanent thing. So you're looking to say this is just for the year, and then if we want to make any changes officially, it can go before the board. Anthony?
So I also support this. I disagree that we need to call it an exemption. Policy ACDC requires us to follow Title IX. Title IX allows girls to play a boys' sport when that sport is not offered for girls, right? We've heard that lacrosse is a sport that is bizarre in that boys lacrosse has a completely different set of rules than girls lacrosse. They're separate sports, they're different sports, right? It's like saying the boys bowling team plays 10-pin and the girls bowling team plays candlepin. They're different games, right? So you can be good at one and not necessarily prepared to be good at the other. So we don't have to do anything other than simply direct the superintendent to let her play. We're following our policy. We don't have to do anything to the policy. I agree that the policy probably needs to be looked at. We've talked about this before. It's a very poorly written policy if you think that it means what you think that it means. So it tells us to follow Title IX. Title IX tells us what to do. All we have to do is do it.
We would need the exemption for no other reason than in the second page of the policy, we have defined lacrosse as female or male sport.
But that's a different sport. So
it's considered, though it's clearly they're played differently, MPA and everybody classify them as
What we're
lacrosse.
doing is we're offering a sport, we're offering girls lacrosse because that's the game that every other high school and middle school offers in the state for girls. But as we have heard, and as we simply know from the fact that we've got football open, you can't prevent them from playing the boys' sport. You just can't.
Ashley?
I don't think the verbiage or whether it's an exemption, an allowance really matters. It's just, we're gonna just vote to let her play or not let her play. I do agree that it could be a seasonal waiver and then something the policy committee needs to take up at the start of the new year to add language.
Instead of doing another whole line, would you change your motion for 1 year? Jenny? So,
Okay, so motion to provide an exemption for one season,
season's better than this.
for one season, to policy ACDC to allow female athletes to play boys lacrosse. Okay, one season probably belongs at the end, not where I said it, but I'll make it work right.
You know,
Okay.
Anything, we're kind of a lot over here.
You're
Anything on the
really
left?
heavy over there. Like, I'll say, I am very much in support of Kate being able to play lacrosse. I also really like that she has the choice. If it does not work out for her, then there is a girls' team that she can go play on. I like that she has that choice and it is available in this district.
I just want to make sure that if we're going to stipulate 1 year, that we bring the policy back before this conversation affects other students. Because this happens to be a situation for lacrosse, but I think we're going to see others for other sports. And so we can't just ignore that this is a major issue with our policy, and we need to bring that policy back to the table for discussion and revision soon. So I will approve and vote in favor of this, but I don't want us to just tack on for 1 year and then Kate, her family, and her supporters are sitting here again next year and year after that if we keep dragging our feet about the policy.
We will direct it towards the policy committee. We as a board can do that. But they have quite a bit going on in the next 4 or 5 meetings they have. And then once the new policy committee sits, I added a couple, did you notice that? Once the new policy committee sits, then we can get it on their schedule. Any other questions, Anthony?
So I'm going back to the idea of exemptions, and I'm sorry to have to beat this, but I would caution us.
No, stop. No, that's, Joe, that was Anthony, please. Go on, Anthony, please.
I'm tired of
No,
these
Joe,
kinds of
Anthony,
interruptions from
yes,
a
I know,
particular
but
member of this board.
let it go,
It would
move
be
on.
nice if he gave me the same kind of respect that I give him. All right? Now,
Okay, let's move on.
if he could just leave aside his personal
Anthony, leave it
grievances for a
alone.
few
Let it
moments
go.
so that he could listen to what I had to say, I would already be finished.
Okay, let's move on. What was you going to say?
So I would advise us to think very carefully about giving an exemption. Because what we're doing when we say that we are giving an exemption is we're admitting to everybody that we're doing something other than what policy says that we can do, right? Now, you might not think, oh, well, you know, whatever, that's not a big deal. Things can get litigious. If we give an exemption, we are stepping aside from the path that we are admitting. We are altering the path from what our policy says. Instead of simply saying, yeah, our policy says that we can do this, and we're just going to allow it, because that's what the policy says.
I understand, I had some concerns about that, but I feel we're gonna get, we will, if the other side, if a male would wish, a biological male wishes to go on a female team, and we've already had an exemption permitting a biological female to go onto a male team. I'm concerned about lawsuits the other way, but we're also open to those lawsuits already. So I didn't see any great financial burden because we're already open to those lawsuits by our current policy. And I do believe we need the exemption simply because of our current policy's wording on our definition of teams. So anybody else? Not seeing any of those. All those in favor of the motion, can you read it one more time, please?
Yes. Ashley made a motion to provide an exemption for one season to policy ACDC to allow female athletes to play boys lacrosse. It was seconded by Jenny. Do I have that right?
I believe so,
Okay.
yes. That sound right, Ashley? Yeah. All right, all those in favor? All those opposed?
Whoa.
I think it
Can
was,
you put
it was over, it was
No, it
unanimous.
wasn't.
Yeah.
No, Kyle didn't raise his hand.
I know, but on this side, isn't it?
Okay.
Well, we start on the other side.
And students, did you vote yes or no? Yes, okay.
Jenny, your hand's up.
Yeah, sorry.
Did you ask or no?
I was waiting, you ready?
Oh,
All those
yes.
opposed?
Writing Ashley.
Abstain? We have one
Are you
abstain.
abstaining?
Yeah, we have
Okay.
one abstain. All right. That, folks, brings us to the,
High school counselor.
Guidance counselor.
oh, I'm sorry, yes, great. So, clarification, yes, we have just voted to permit you to play on the boys' team. Sorry that got confusing. We have a tendency to do that. All right. I'm sorry. I got carried away, Bree. I got excited. I thought we could move
Like
on.
11.4.
Yeah, 11.4, but it is.
High school counselor.
Yes. So the high school counselor. Do we have a motion for the recommended revised job description of the high school counselor?
Yes.
We have a motion to have it. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Crystal. All right, discussion. Bree?
All I am asking is, under the performance responsibilities, number 5, to remove the word foreign.
Remove the word for.
Under 5.
Is that an issue? or-
Under
Make
performance
this change. It
responsibilities.
could say international instead of foreign.
I think that it doesn't need anything, it just exchange student programs.
Yep.
No other, I'm not asking to insert anything,
Doesn't
just
matter.
remove.
Yep. Everybody have any issue with it, consent? See general consent that there's no issue? So we currently have a motion to approve with the deletion of
The
foreign.
word foreign in number 5, which is totally fine.
Yep, so all those in favor? Yeah, no. Come on, pay attention.
We're here, so I had to leave that.
All those opposed?
Teamwork makes the dream work down there, guys.
Are you abstaining, for or against?
No, I voted for it.
For.
Okay, so it's unanimous?
Unanimous.
Thank you.
And students.
And students, thank you.
Students voted here too, right?
We can
So
adjourn before we sign.
we'll adjourn and then, but nobody can leave.
I wasn't sure.
All
Yeah.
right,
I make a motion to adjourn.
second. All those in favor?
So Bree made the motion, Joe seconded,
Bring a pen, Gabby?
unanimous.
Yeah.